So it's easy to spot someone wearing a mask, isn't it? I mean, it's fairly obvious, it stands out, and it perhaps leaves you wondering what on earth's going on. Well, the book of Psalms actually is all about wearing masks, or at least it's an invitation to take the mask off. It's really easy to spot someone when they're wearing a mask like this, isn't it? You'd see them coming from a mile off. In fact, you might run away from them quite fast as well. But actually, one of the biggest issues in terms of people and their relationship with God is it's wearing masks. It's pretending that things are other than they really are. And one of the great challenges, at least in my life, is to keep the mask down. To keep the mask down in my interactions with others, to keep the mask down in my interaction with God, to keep the mask down in my interactions with myself, to be real and honest. And what the book of Psalms does is gives us words that have been stewarded and used for hundreds of years as a way of being honest with ourselves, with others, and with God. One of the real challenges is finding the right words in situations, isn't it? We often say how we're lost for words, both in times of amazing goodness, but also in times of great sorrow and grief. Well, the book of Psalms is gifted to us as a series of words to help us express ourselves, to help us articulate deep and complex emotions. The book of Psalms is divided into 5 books. That's why, if you look carefully, you'll see at the end of different Psalms, there are kind of like beginnings of book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5. So have a look at the end of Psalm 41 or 72 or 89 or 106. And you'll see that there's an ending there, a kind of verse of praise which rounds off that section before it begins another book. Some people say that it's deliberately 5 books to echo the books of Moses. And the last 5 or 6 Psalms from Psalm 145 are all Psalms of praise. Each of the 5 books ends with a verse of praise. At the end of the whole book of Psalms, we get 5 or 6 Psalms of praise, declaring how good God is. My favourite psalm is Psalm 25, which begins, "To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. O my God, in you I trust." It kind of sums up what all of the psalms are about, actually. That in whatever we're experiencing, we will trust in God as we praise and give thanks to Him, as we lament, as we grieve, as we cry out, "Lord, how long? How long will it be before things change?" Or as we cry out, "Where are you, God? Because the heavens feel silent." Well, actually, the very fact of speaking out, of praying, of praising, is a statement of faith and trust. It's almost like the words of the Psalms help us to build a bridge from ourselves to God, a bridge over which we can walk in order to get closer to God. But as we speak those words and create that bridge, actually, what we find is that God is holding on to us anyway. What we discover is that God is holding us in the depths of all of our emotions, the positive ones and in the difficult ones. We think we're trying to connect with God, and yet, time and time again, what we discover is that God has already connected with us and remains with us. In the place of grief, we find God there. In the place of lament, we find God alongside us, weeping and grieving and longing for change and transformation as well. In the times of celebration, God is alongside us, partying and rejoicing. The book of Psalms, then, is all about articulating the realities of human experience, connecting them with God, and discovering that before we even tried, God has connected with us. So, explore the book of Psalms, experiment using them as hymns, as prayers, and find depth to the connection that God has already created with you. and invite you to explore and deepen as you pull off the mask and keep it down and are real with God. You have nothing to fear. You are free to be honest and real to Him.